welcome to What We Watched with Scott and Toby. We're talking Midnight Mass, Episode 4, Lamentations. It's going to be some pretty spoiler-heavy talk, but if that's okay with you, continue on, and I'll see you on the other side.
I watched Last Night in Soho.
Oh, yeah, I just saw the chat thing. That's cool. You enjoyed it? I sort of know nothing about it, so I'm semi-excited. I guess it's weird, like he's got such a following, Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
But as much as I like his films, I'm still like Shaun of the Dead's best for me.
Really?
All the way back to the beginning. And, you know, like Baby Driver was cool, but like I don't think I ever need to see it again. And I still haven't seen Scott Pilgrim. And
see, now, Scott Pilgrim, I really, really enjoyed. I thought that was one of his best ones, if not his best one. Shaun of the Dead, obviously, is Shaun of the Dead. It's very good. And Spaced is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a massive fan of The World's End.
No, I feel like I just don't need to see it again. It was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like nice for them to finish.
Yeah, that was The World's End, to me, just felt like an extended episode of Doctor Who.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It didn't bring any,
I guess I know what you mean.
Yeah. Or a children's BBC series or something like that. It's just bleh.
I definitely know what you mean. I don't know if it's production value or just the sets.
Yeah. And then Hot Fuzz was okay. It was quite good, but not as good as it thought it was. And a lot of people think it is, I don't think.
I guess the first time I watched it, I was almost disappointed. But it's sort of grown on me since. I think that's one I can watch again and actually appreciate.
Yeah. I think it nods to the genre weren't as strong or as good or as clever as I wanted them to be.
I guess Shaun of the Dead was just fun. When I watched Spaced and Shaun of the Dead, I quite like how you kind of hit the ground running with the characters. I guess I always use Skins as an example, which is quite a dated old show now. But I just remember that first season, we just dropped in a group of friends that already exists. I guess I quite liked it because they were just that antagonism between them, like they just were comfortable with each other. And then season 2, it was like first day at college, and it was everyone meeting for the first time. And as a result, it was just like, but they've just met like a week ago. And so I guess with Shaun of the Dead and Spaced, it was just nice how, like, I know in the first episode he meets Jessica Stephen, but I guess with Mike and stuff, I don't know.
He brings his friends along almost, doesn't he?
So then in the police one, Hot Fuzz, I was just sort of waiting for them to get on for like most of the film. Like they were just butting heads for what felt like forever. And I was like, they're sort of the most fun when they're just backing each other up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. I get where you're going with that. As for Last Night in Soho, I won't say anything really about it, but it felt like, especially the first 2/3, it was Edgar Wright doing new.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Which I really enjoyed.
Because I guess that's what Baby Driver felt like. At least it was like, okay, he's gone to, I guess, not having seen Scott Pilgrim's, like he's gone to America. He sort of shed his, I guess you pinned it when you said like World's End, like his TV feel. No shade to his early stuff, but I guess
this definitely didn't feel TV. It was impressive feat of filmmaking at times for sure. But I will have a discussion about it, I guess, once you've seen it. So
I'm pretty sure it's not showing here. It's some kind of indie cinema at least. Nice,
but it is beautiful and it's really well acted.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll definitely check out. I get the fun thing for me is that I know nothing about it. Like I don't quite know who's in it. I just, as soon as I heard about it, I stayed away. I think because there's a song called like Werewolves of Soho. I think it's Werewolves of London actually, but there's a chorus where they sing about Soho. I just keep thinking it's gonna be about werewolves, but I think that's just, I've put that there. Like I think there's a song called Last Night in Soho.
There is,
maybe. Oh, okay. So I have no idea if it's anything linked with that. Like the inspiration is like, well, I'm in Soho and there's a song in Soho.
Yeah, well, there is
see it and come back to you.
There is a song called Last Night in Soho, and I think it was Quentin Tarantino who said this is the best end of song that's never been used in a film.
Oh, okay. I guess one thing trivia I heard for Baby Driver was kind of cool. Like, I guess not all, but a lot of the songs he uses are more famous now for being like remixed.
Mm-hmm.
So that dun, 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 jump around, jump. Like I think it opens with using that song, but it goes on to the original song that was sampled.
Right.
And there's like a bunch of songs like that, and someone was saying it's almost quite fun to, even when you sort of loosely know them or not.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I haven't seen it again to spot that, but to hear all these songs you recognize, but to go back to the original or something.
Yeah, I don't really remember Baby Driver. I wasn't that blown away by it, to be honest. I can't like to be like I know I've seen it, but I can't even remember seeing it. I just remember seeing the trailers for it, and those are the bits that are stuck with me. But the rest of it, I'm just like, can tell you what happened.
He did that thing where at the beginning the character's channel flipping, and we're getting these seemingly random sound bites from the TV. And just having been a fan of his earlier work, I caught them. So when he could go to like a nature documentary, go, of course, it ends in a foot race. It's like a Attenborough thing with like a lion chasing a deer. I was like, that's how the film ends. It ends on foot. Like, it's one of those things where it's once you know to look out for, it's like it's not too subtle. Well, it is subtle. It's just to look out for it and spot it.
Completely. I watched a YouTube video that was talking all about that the other day, and they had one for Shaun of the Dead, and apparently it was foreshadowed in the very beginning of the film on the rug.
On the rug. Oh wow!
There's a rug that has been designed, and it basically is the shape of the bar, and then they're surrounded by these dots which represent the zombies.
Oh wow! Like, I know the shots one for that, but that's cool. The rug one, like a visual one. Yeah. Oh, like you're not sure if it's true. It's
well, it probably is, but I don't know. It just feels like I've never seen it as officially confirmed, but it's like foreshadowing in Shaun of the Dead that everyone's missed until now.
Oh,
type of video. Okay, fair enough. He was very clever, and then he became cliched. In
I guess. Who's that super art house director who did like The Thin Red Line and Badlands? Terence Malick. It's like I love his early films because it's like a straight film sprinkled with like these little moments of magic. And now when I watch one of his films, it's just pure magic, and it's not enough. It's like, Jesus, go back to having a producer.
Yeah,
like you've been given too much leeway. You've just done a 3-hour poem, and I've paid $10 to see it, and I'm bored, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I guess I'm not having seen but I guess a few other directors who have done that, who like started off great, and then it feels like they had maybe too much power in their next movie. Like the studio just said, we love what you do. This time we won't try and hold you back because we trust you. And then they did go too far. Like they did need someone to rein them in.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what you think of Last Night in Soho.
Talking of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Midnight Mass, episode 4, Lamentations.
Yes. Laminations.
Yeah. So previous episode, I made a few predictions. Yes, they went down the drain pretty quick, if not instantly.
They did, didn't they? Oh dear.
I think I thought that Bev was a secret guardian and was actually trying to kill the vampire guy.
Oh yes, that's right.
No, she's pro vampire dude.
Well, this is it. Just there was some proper curveballs in this episode, wasn't there?
Yes.
It twisted and turned, and well, not so much twist, but it definitely turned in directions I never saw it going. We were turning left and it went right, type of thing. Especially with its opening of Erin's baby, that was
like
didn't see that coming. There was no Twilight-esque baby's trying to eat its way out of its mother twist. It was just gone.
I mean, these characters are just living in the glum already. It's quite a downer show, and that was before this happened. And I guess that's
just layering on. It's a doom, basically.
Yeah, I do feel I'm really hoping the end of this show, that the events which we'll talk about at the end of this show, shake it up for the next episode and so on. I guess it's feeling bit not glib, but like I don't know how much more I can take of like the chess match of Riley and Monsignor, for example, talking about their side of the beliefs, because I feel like we had that from day one.
Yeah,
and they're good,
it's very
they're well written, but come on, show.
Yeah, it's very slow, isn't it? But it's not that it's a bad thing. I have enjoyed the slowness of it. Yeah, but yeah, Erin's baby, basically, I did see when I was thinking about the fact that she was pregnant, and then that we'd come to our conclusions that as it was vampires, the blood was turning people. The baby disappearing was not part of my thought process in any way, shape, or form, and I can't work out why.
No, I thought it was going to come down to like saving the baby. I thought the baby was going to be the pinnacle of hope. I thought it was going to be Riley sacrificing himself for the baby. I do think the baby's not gone.
Do you?
I don't know. It's like he took it out of her, and it's still. Do you know what I mean? Like he's going to bring a baby in later, or they can't see it because she's gone like vampiric, and it's, you know how mirrors work. It's some sort of mirror thing, maybe.
To me, it feels like that regressive healing thing that's going on with the mother.
Oh, I see. It sort of saw like the baby as a sort of parasite or something, and just
exactly. So it's getting rid of
chilling.
Yeah, it is. And then my next point that I've written down was Bev being so caught up in her religious beliefs, she can't see that this can only be bad. And this was early on in the episode, before we got to
her reveal,
what happens later on in the episode, and you alluded to earlier on. But yeah, so there's all this thing. She just almost puts these blinkers up, and it's like, well, this is God's will. This is God's will. This is God's will. This constant.
I know you like your religious zealots.
Oh,
I know they're your favorite character in any Stephen King book,
especially the one in the mist. But yeah, so her, just not to, I'll give this show its dues. She is one of those characters that would normally grate on me extremely, but she's doing a good job of not.
She took the line, huh?
Yeah, she's what's the word? Diverse enough to not become annoying.
Do you think it's handy that she's sort of like a mid side guy, not main villain guy?
Yeah, definitely. She's a peripheral character that keeps sort of dipping in and out. Yeah, so basically the fact that she is, and I think this is it. This sums her character up perfectly, actually. At the beginning of the episode, I was becoming frustrated with her religious beliefs and the way that she was, God's will is, and then everything that happens is because God wishes it into existence. And then by the end of the episode, she's just full covering shit up. And
I'm guessing she killed the dog.
I still don't believe she killed the dog, no.
Because she's, there's the part in the episode where she just flat out opens, like she knows something strange is going on. She thinks it's a miracle. But to open a door and find a dead body and the priest covered in blood, she just sort of gets with it super quick. Yeah. I thought maybe he's going to talk to her. She's going to be like, oh, I don't know about this. And then he gives her one of his sort of speeches. But she instantly went into speech mode. You did this because you're a miracle worker.
Yeah.
So that unhinged thing was sort of always there, which makes me think she killed the dog. And because they're not really referencing it anymore, and the guy whose dog it was has been written out.
Dead too.
And there's no real shots of her grabbing poison anymore.
So see, I think she was grabbing the poison to poison the priest. I don't believe she poisoned the dog solely off the fact that she wasn't wearing the same dress as the poisoned person was.
Do you think she poisoned the dog by mistake? Oh no, so you think there's still a mystery, but that means it has to be one of the women, no? And there's only like 3 women in the show. Yeah,
so it's a bit bizarre, unless she did a costume change, which would be a bit weird. And
I mean, I'm worried he's going to end up being like some sort of continuity or unpurposeful misdirection.
A red herring for the sake of red herrings. So there's that possible. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see where that pans out. Obviously, Monsieur changing from being clearly shifting into a vampire, struggling with the fact that he's not eating blood and not feeding off of the vial that's full from I guess the vampire, the head vampire that's hidden in the shadows and floating around the island at will. his vial becomes quite empty, doesn't he? So he's not got the juice to support his hunger, so he starts to starve almost.
Okay, I guess I thought that was him giving it to the people.
Yeah, it's a bit of both, I think. I think he was filling up the vial, but he was also feeding off it himself, because he wasn't
just give it to everyone.
Yeah, the point where is it Joe? He kills Joe. It's Joe. He basically chews down on him, doesn't he? He turns up at the.
Yeah, I think he's just having a rough day. He's you said I could. Anytime I had trouble, I could come.
And then he gets chomped on, which is the body that Bev walks in on, and then helps cover up.
I guess it's kind of a nice surprise, like, because it happened at night. Like people, like he really just lives in a little hut. I think it's got a name, that little house by the church.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, you sort of open it and you're sort of in his living room and his kitchen. You know, it's a very small bedsit bungalow sort of style thing. I guess he doesn't mean to kill Joe. He just has an impulse.
Yeah.
I think the only note I wrote, because I've watched a couple of horror films, I guess, over the last few weeks, and I think in every one, someone fell and whacked their head on the corner of a table. I was going to say, no one dies from the corner of the table as much as they do in movies. I swear to God. Yeah. It's got to be a lot rarer than that. It feels like a weird, easy out.
Yes, it is. It is. I even, it's so much of an easy out that I, as a student in film production, wrote that very similar. Somebody falls over and bangs their head on a rock.
Obviously, it happens, but I guess, I don't know, like it's just a quick way to make someone accidentally kill someone else, and suddenly, I guess you can't. If you're waving a gun and it accidentally goes off, you're still waving the gun. But I guess if you push someone, you don't mean to crack their head off the corner of the table.
Yeah.
I guess that was quite a cool death, huh? Like, he had to sort of slowly die out while the priest was like lapping up his blood after he was sort of having
that unfolded really well, actually.
Relapse, as it were.
And then everybody else, didn't a load of them turn up, didn't they? Like the people that were, was it 2 or 3 of them turned up, and the priest was still covered in blood. And
yes, that was what I was going to say. Made me laugh, because that happened at night, and then the next day they're sort of waiting for him at church, and the woman goes to see him, and it's broad daylight. And he hasn't moved. He's just, I really thought he would just come out like super clean and like alert and like not sinister, but like, hello, my lamb. Sort of, you know what I mean? Like totally covering his tracks, like sharp as ever. But he was like more broken than ever. And I guess that's the interesting way his character is arcing. I think he's going to sort of come on the other side eventually. I was misled. Like, I thought it was an angel, but it was a demon. Like he's going to slowly sort of realize that it's not Jesus, God's will.
Yes, exactly. Whereas Bev is fully buying into everything that's happening, which is,
because she pulls people into it willy-nilly. Yeah, she just grabs like 2 people. I'm not 100% sure. Is one of them the dad?
Yeah, the dad of the girl that was in the wheelchair at the beginning, who's now walking.
So I guess she just thought, this guy believes in miracles. He'll get it.
Yeah, he's going to be the easiest to sway.
He felt like an extra, the other guy. Do you know who it was?
No, I can't remember.
But she just pulls them in and was like, yo, clean up this mess and get rid of the body.
Yeah.
And they're like, And the priest is still there, right? It's not like, he's not here. He's sat there
covered in blood and sat there looking.
Literally eating him. And I guess he just slaps them and throws some verse at them, and they fall into line.
Exactly. Wrap him in a rug.
I guess this is where we get the title Midnight Mass from. Like, because he sort of showed her, like, she's like, well, let's get you cleaned up and into mass. And he sticks, like, he flat out sizzles in the sunlight now.
Yes. Yeah. Which leads us nicely into follow on from Erin losing the baby, where she goes to the nurse and has her blood taken.
That was kind of fun.
That was a good sequence. I really like that. Then she puts it out on the side, and it sort of catches the sun rays and just basically starts to boil.
The violet blood, yeah.
That was really cool, I thought.
So I guess everyone, I don't know, because
she's not drinking the blood, is she, that doctor?
Is she not going to church? But everyone else is in the sunlight.
Yes, this is my point. And I've got Mon's shield changing, and will that happen to the whole island, or why isn't it happening to the whole island? Is it because he fed off the
vampire dude,
or was attacked and then fed?
But it might just be a slow process, right? Because he was all right in the sun at the beginning.
Yeah, very true. So that's going to be interesting on how much of this is going to affect the island, and then who is and who hasn't. Like Riley was was drinking from the vial. It didn't initially, but I think as the episodes went on, he started to, which I was like, oh no, I can't have Riley turning. Little did I know.
Yeah. You still loving Riley?
Yeah, no, he's a good character.
I mean,
I think he's good.
Conversation with Erin and Riley when they were on the sofa, when it was a 1-2-1-2, was like, oh god, I think they should. I guess they need each other, but split up and find a happy place. He was like, how are you?
Think of you.
I killed someone and I'm never going to get over it. Here's what I think that happens when we die. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and it was a really nice speech. What about you?
Yeah,
my baby just died. Here's what I think. Oh god, okay. That's two back to back. And I think they had a conversation before that, right? About I don't know, just how you're doing this stuff.
I remember you saying in the last cast about the fact that it was very much there's lots of people talking to each other back and forth, and you'd hoped it would be a bit more than just a lot of talking.
In a very speechish way.
No, it's more like an exposition dump in it, but not quite at the same time.
Theologically.
So I did laugh when that was happening. So what happens when we die? Monsieur and the lady, I was right about that. Her getting the old lady, getting all of her.
Yeah, I've sort of found, I guess it makes sense, but I didn't pick up on it until now because I was just brought up the IMDb to list the characters. But Riley's mum is going to progress also.
Yes.
I guess I didn't really pick up on her, like, because we were saying the lady with Alzheimer's is obviously made up to look older, but Riley's mum is actually a very young actress. Yeah, I didn't pick up on it. That one slipped by me. I don't know if you brought that up.
Yeah, she's definitely. A lot of them are de-aging. Even the father's starting to look a bit younger.
And then he had his speech.
Yeah.
I guess that was. I don't know why. I guess that was the most heartbreaking speech from in that episode, considering like someone lost a baby and what do you think happens when you die? I think that like him basically saying, I failed you as a father because of the things you've done. I kind of thought that was going to weigh super heavy on Riley, like he was going to retort, like, but they kind of faded it out after he made his point. No, or I kind of thought that was not the most brutal,
poignant.
Yeah, well, it was just heartbreaking that damn, like Riley's guilt is really spread. The dad basically takes that on himself. He's like, well, I have to believe it's the way you were brought up, and since your mum's a saint, it can only be me. Damn.
And pushed you in directions you didn't want to go in, and
especially because as horrible as it was, and he's 100% to blame, it was an accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like carefree and a horrible thing to do. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not excusing his behavior, completely. But he didn't. It's not like he was an evil person. No. As far as we know, right?
He made a mistake that was a grave misjudgment of.
I guess we could imply that he was just partying and it was a matter of time. It's not like he never did it and he was someone else drunk. He'd never drunk before. It was the first time. Like, I guess we could argue he hit like Wall Street partier mode, and it was an accident waiting to happen, I suppose. But
jumped ahead a bit, so we've done the Bev cover up, and I guess I've talked about her speech a bit here. I've said again, she's hiding the crazy of what's happening around her and around them under the guise of religion, i.e., it's it can be fitted to warp any text.
It's just more hardcore than Senior Pruitt, right?
Yeah,
there's a line when it's like, I'm going to do this, blah blah, but in God's time. She's like, there is only God's time.
Yeah, exactly. And she is the epitome of a nutcase. But I'm much preferring her depiction of a religious zealot, as you put it, than I have seen in previous attempts.
I mean, I'm really hoping, and I feel like Flanagan has written some depth to her that we haven't seen yet. Like, there's going to be some more backstory. There's going to be a bit of a reason that we come to, if not explicitly know, but understand, just because of how everyone's written. It doesn't feel like he would write a character like this without a backstory.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, I guess the whole island's messed up. Like Erin's talking about her mum. Oh God, that was the other conversation on the sofa. With Erin's mum, you know what I mean? Like, talking about having birds' wings clipped. Like, did you have your wings clipped the day you were born? Oh God.
give ourselves over speech, making excuses. I don't know quite what I mean by that.
I guess it's sort of like a metaphor. That was when Riley goes to Monsignor Pruitt and he's talking about how Aaron's lost a baby.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't just tell you, it's God's will, blah, blah, blah. So Riley's like, oh, so just believe without understanding. He's like, yeah,
yes,
that's what I'm doing. You give yourself up without understanding.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's a bit of a metaphor.
So that's, I think, part of my problem with religion, I think, it's just in a whole, is it does feel like it makes excuses for and gives people ways out for behaving the way they do. Like there are many people that are very highly religious and pray daily, but yet wield and sell drugs and treat women badly, and then at the end of the day they wash away their sins by praying to whoever God or whichever God that they believe in, and then they repeat all those sins the next day, and it hides, and they hide behind it basically.
I guess every is it like the Godfather, for example, like every mafia sort of stems from not the mafia doesn't, but they're a very religious upbringing, and they just still go to church and have super religious weddings, despite the fact that the mafia are organized crime and murder.
And just priests, not all priests, but the popes and
here in Canada in this last year there was a sort of another sort of uncovering of like historic, but actually not that long ago, Indigenous children's bodies found buried and abused, taken from I guess their families, like I guess similar to like what happened in Australia and stuff, like just flat out abuse and just clearly just covered up and uncovered now. So they make a statement, but it's like not good enough.
It's not, and that's so that's part of my problem with, and I hoping that this is what this program is addressing. Well, not addressing, but using thoughts as a high narrative thread of that way that people hide behind religion to excuse away the horrors of everyday existence.
But I guess at times also, to be fair, that sometimes that's the extreme side.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like I have a few friends who are religious, and I guess the few conversations we had, it just brings them comfort.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like
there is a lot to be taken from it, and that can be positive completely.
I guess it's like we said back on episode 1, it's like his thoughts on the difference between believing in a God and organized religion. And I guess how easy it is to misinterpret, because that's what this whole show is about right now.
Yeah.
A vampire slipped in and everyone thought it was an angel.
An angel, yeah.
I mean, then maybe that's going to be the lore of this. You know what I mean? Like every show needs its lore. Like, where did it come from? And maybe it will go all the way back to like biblical times. And it is religious. He is, the last show he did, Blind Manor. There was a whole episode dedicated almost out of the blue, the penultimate episode. Here's a flashback to the origins of the ghost, like a pure episode set 200 years earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get the same kind of thing with the vampire, or we'll get little snippets, but I'm sure we'll get something like how he came to be.
Yeah, possibly.
Jerusalem.
I've got the islands starting to realise that something untoward is going on. Questions are starting to be asked. You could start to see a divide, I think.
I feel like the majority of them are slipping into the euphoria, though. Like there's a few skeptics, but as a whole, they're all physically feeling it and spiritually feeling it.
Remember, but when Joe turned up at the priest's house and he clocked him in the picture on the wall, and then was like,
it could be your son, it could be your dad.
Yeah, this is uncanny. Cuddle, chomp.
You should really take that picture down. And that's when he drops the line like, oh, I heard he wasn't celibate. So I'm guessing he's in love, or who was in love with the
old lady that's
the old
coming
lady.
on. Yes,
bringing her back.
100%, which I called. And then I've got, as I have with every episode that I end with the oh shit ending, because it does end very, very well, this series at the moment, for me anyway. I find every ending just like, oh crap. And this was very much an oh crap ending. Riley, shortly after the conversation on the sofa with Erin, isn't it? He goes to his
he noticed that the priest lied to him. He's like, where's Joe? Like, he goes to the AA meeting the day before or what have you. He's like, where's Joe? Like, oh, Joe said he's gone to visit his sister. And I knew something was up because he said his sister, like just the way no one responds like that unless it's like his sister died 10 years ago or something, some kind of clanging thing, or like, because he warns his mum, right? He's like, hey, mum, I don't know what's going on. Yes. All I know is that the priest lied to me. So just be careful, because there's no reason for it. So I guess he's literally outside Aaron's house, and he's like, I got to speak to the priest and
I got to clear this up. Get to the bottom of it. And he basically walks in on the priest and the head vampire,
Mr.
who's slicing his wrist and feeling up the vials of blood for everybody to drink again. And just that flipping heck, the speed at which he flies across that room and just pins Riley to the floor and chomps down on his throat while the priest just shuts the door on them all. That was a terrifying sequence. Yeah, I did not see that coming. I had no idea that that's the direction it was going to take, and I knocked the wind out of me. That one did. I felt
nice.
Where did you sit with it?
But this is where I'm like, I don't know if I would binge this show, because by now I think I would cotton on to the fact that, like, stop giving me these shock endings. Like, we're going to start off in the action in the next episode, because I know you're going to sit me down and give me a talking to from several characters. And then because this was actually a very, I guess the horror was different because it was Aaron losing the baby, but the spooks are going. And I don't know how they're going to get the spookiness back. I feel like
it's not really. Where would the spookiness come from for you in the preceding episodes?
Well, we had like faces on the mirror. We had this sense of being watched. We had like, there's someone out in the rain walking. Who is it? Remember all the way back at the beginning? The
cats.
I feel like now just we know it's that vampire. Anytime we see a face, it can be scary, but it's not spooky. There's no like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, because it's like, oh, it's that guy. It's the vampire jumpy guy. But we're episode 4, 3 episodes left.
3 episodes left, yes. And apparently,
so I'm sure there will be. I guess it's more like I sort of trust this director to sort of throw stuff at me I don't know how to see coming. Which makes it a hard podcast to make predictions on.
Like in his previous episodes, he's continuously left the big reveals obviously to the end, but he tends to go big in the like 2 penultimate episodes before the last one, obviously. So I'm expecting big revelations in the next episode, which is called Gospel, and then you've got Acts and Apostles and Revelation.
I think the next episode is going to be the town at an all-time euphoria.
Right.
It's going to be like the swing, the not the positive swing, like the vampires winning swing. I think that's where midnight. It's going to be like, hey, we've moved Master Midnight, and it's going to be packed. He's going to be on an all-time high because he's sort of had his bloods and stuff. The town is sort of most of the town is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Depressing Riley's out of sight. No one has to sort of worry about him moping around, bringing the town down.
Yeah. It's going to be, where do you think, what's going to...
I'm doubling down on, now he's sort of pushed his rowboat. We keep seeing him in the rowboat. In this episode, he talked about it, how he sees the sun come up. I'm like, he's definitely dying in a rowboat. Somehow it's like, he's going to like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm going to row out where there's no shade to hide in. And then when the sun comes up, I'll get frazzled.
I will be surprised if it ends in a rowboat.
For him, I mean.
Yeah. I don't think you'll actively see him in a boat. Maybe we will.
Because before it was just a boat in the dark, and it was like, I thought it was like some weird representation of his loneliness and lost at sea.
Yeah.
But now he's talking about how it's the dream, and he watches the sun come up.
I still, maybe you're right. Maybe.
I mean, I've been wrong before, Tobe, funny enough.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I just think it's still metaphorical, that whole boat bit. There'll be a version of that, but it won't be in a boat as we see in the dream sequences.
Be in a convertible car in a field.
Yeah. Over a crest of a hill. Yeah. I don't know. But yes. So that's what that was. What episode was that?
That was 4.
Laminations. So where do you sit on the show as a whole so far? You kind of
I wanted to disappointed. Not disappointed, but I want it to pick up speed.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the sake of the listener, like I feel like we're the last people to have watched this. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure most people watch it in the first week of its recording. We're now like doing less than one a week because
it's been torturous for me
us to get together and record. 3 episodes is a good amount to have left. Like, I think next episode will be like, I feel like I'm honestly taking the penultimate episode out because I think it's going to be a backstory, which sort of gives me 2 episodes to wrap everything up, which gives me like everyone falls into a dark hole that is unescapable, and which takes us to the finale of how we got out of the dark.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, okay, cool. Let's do it that way then. Shall we?
Hey, we're going to wrap it up around there. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Join us again next episode, and until then, have a great day.
Which I